Today, we are pulling back the curtain on a concept that, honestly, powers pretty much everything you do in your digital life, whether you know it or not.
So think about it for a sec. What's the invisible string that ties together your Zoom class, the app you use to check your bank account, and the watch on your wrist that tracks your steps? On the surface, they seem like totally different things, right? Well, it turns out they're all connected by one single, incredibly powerful idea: information and communication technology, or as you'll hear it called, ICT. It is literally the engine running in the background of our entire digital world. So here's our game plan. We're going to break down what ICT actually is, then we'll peek inside the tech toolkit, see where it shows up in your everyday life, and wrap up with why all of this matters so much. Let's dive in. First things first, what in the world is ICT? Now, it's a phrase that gets tossed around a lot, but trust me, it's way more than just a fancy word for tech. The best way to think about it is as this huge umbrella term. It covers basically any tool, any system, any piece of infrastructure that lets us get our hands on information, store it, send it, and, do stuff with it. It's the whole ecosystem. We're talking everything from deep-sea cables to satellites that makes all this global communication even possible. And that brings us to a really common mix-up. What's the difference between IT and ICT? Okay, think of it like this. IT is all about the computers, the software, the data itself. ICT includes all of that, but it puts a massive spotlight on the C, the communication part. It's all about how these separate technologies connect and actually talk to each other. All right, so let's break that acronym down even more. What are the real building blocks of ICT? It actually boils down to a pretty simple three-step process. First, you have the information. Let's say it's a picture you just took on your phone. Step 2, you have the communication. That's the act of you hitting send to a friend. And finally, step 3, you have the technology. Your phone, the messaging app, the Wi-Fi network. That makes it all happen in a split second. It's that simple flow. Info, communication, tech. Okay, now for the really cool part. Let's open up this giant toolkit and see what kind of hardware and software actually make up this ICT universe. And believe me, it is incredibly diverse. I mean, on the software side, the list just goes on and on. We're talking about everything from the blogs you read to social media to the e-learning platforms and smartboards that are totally changing how we learn. These are the tools we actually touch and interact with every single day. And what you're seeing here really captures the big idea. ICT isn't just one single gadget. It's this massive, interconnected ecosystem. It's where technology, the cloud, the code, sparks new ideas and helps us share knowledge with each other. It's all connected. But behind all of those apps and websites is a mind-boggling amount of physical hardware. I mean, we've gone from clunky 1G phones to the promise of 6G networks. We have Wi-Fi, and there's even Li-Fi, which sends data using light. You've got the little NFC chip in your phone that lets you tap to pay, massive supercomputers crunching data, and now we have entire networks of satellites creating an internet in space. That's a total game changer for connecting the entire planet. So we've got all this amazing technology. But where does it actually show up? Let's talk about the real-world impact of ICT, how it powers your world. And let's start with a huge one, education. The way we learn has been fundamentally transformed by ICT. Platforms like Google Classroom mean you can learn from anywhere. Digital libraries put the world's knowledge right at your fingertips. Smart classrooms make learning way more interactive. And get this, ICT allows students and teachers on opposite sides of the world to work together on the same project. It's literally tearing down the walls of the traditional classroom. And of course, in the world of business and finance, ICT isn't just important, it's the absolute engine that makes everything run. Every time you buy something online, use an ATM, or just check your bank account on your phone, you're tapping into ICT. But it goes so much deeper for businesses. They rely on it for cloud storage, for complex software that helps them make huge decisions, and for sending money securely across the globe in an instant. And finally, let's zoom all the way out and look at how ICT shapes our society as a whole, from government to public services. Just think about how wide-ranging this is. E-governance lets you pay your taxes online. In medicine, ICT is the magic behind MRIs and CT scans and even virtual doctor's appointments. It gives farmers vital weather info. It runs complex modern defense systems. And of course, it's the foundation for all of our communication, from a simple email to a global video conference. Okay, so we've defined ICT, we've seen it in action, but let's just take a step back and look at the big picture. Why does all this matter so much? When you boil it all down, it comes to this. ICT is one of the biggest drivers of the entire global economy. It makes businesses more efficient, which cuts down costs, and, maybe more importantly, it lets knowledge and ideas flow freely across the planet, which just supercharges innovation everywhere. There's this fantastic quote that just nails it perfectly. It says that ICT is the backbone of our modern knowledge-based economy. It's the core structure holding up how we govern, how we do business, and how we just interact with each other every single day.
And the crazy thing is, this technology just never stops evolving. We're already seeing the next huge waves coming, with things like AI and 6G just around the corner. Which really leaves us with one last big question to chew on. What part of our world is it going to connect next?